Ladies and gentlemen, Totem Pole Nation, we are live. Got a little jam for you here. Huge special shout out to the Not Away Ponytails. 11 and 12-year olds, state champions. They are Louisiana bound. They've won the states. Now they're going to nationals all the way in Louisiana. We're going to have them on the podcast here sometime very soon in the near future. We got to raise some money for these girls, man, because, at 12 years old, coach, they don't pay very well, so it's going to be, they need to get out there. And that's what we do here at Totem Pole Nation. We make things happen. And talking about making things happen, I got my main man, my crystal ball. Tell me the future, Lambo. Tell me the future. What's on your heart this morning, my brother?
Well, the future is always bright in multiple ways as well, but also at the same time, whether I predict the future at times or not, you still got to take it day at a time. That's why it's called life lessons. We do life lessons 5 days a week. So out of these 5 days a week at Totem Pole Nation, which is sponsored by St. Pete, Rejuvenate, and Cultivative Wellness, we do what we do best is we put out the content and we give all the people around the world in America, the life lessons that you may have never heard of before.
Amen. And I want to show you this shirt right here. Totem Pole Bar. Okay.
I like that. Yeah.
Ketchikan, Alaska. Ketchikan, Alaska. And so let me just tell you this, our life lesson of the day. Sometimes a hug is the answer, even when the question is not known. And how about this? So we step into this bar because, obviously it has our logo. And we start having a good time. There's a dog that's just laying in the bar. I mean, like a rug, just laying there flat, on its back, begging for me to rub its tummy. I haven't seen my dog in a week. So, of course, that automatically becomes my dog. I asked the lady if I can rub it and pet it. And I do. And, man, the next thing I know, maybe 5 minutes later, my wife is bear hugging the lady because they got sentimental, started talking about the dogs. We had just lost a dog at the end of January, our baby girl. And, man, the next thing we have a new best friend. We have a new best friend there in Alaska, but love it. Love the love and respect that we got up there. And I mean, it's so nice just to go places and immediately you feel like you have family there, so that's what the best part about traveling is. It's going there with the unknown, not knowing who you're going to meet. Sometimes we've gone on cruises, Lambo, and the only person I knew was my wife. We get off the cruise, we know 1,000 more people, and it's such a cool deal. And big shout out to my brother Kenny Brooks. I see you watching, my man. Good morning to you as well. Keep that ball rolling over there at the Express, Richmond Express. That's the man over there. But besides that, man, that's it, man. It is. I'm big with with the wife, man. I always want to give her a big bear hug, as soon as she gets home, because I know her day is just hectic. And then her driving skills are very hectic. So I know as soon as she gets in the door, a big hug is a good thing that she needs. And that's our message today. Find somebody to hug today because they're going to need it. And it's important. It's an important thing. How about yourself, Lambo?
Well, a hug is always key in multiple ways. Just because you can love it's hard to love everybody conditionally. I don't know if people heard the saying, when it comes to certain relationships, that pets get loved unconditionally more than people. Uh, so I think in today's lesson, um, as like I said, when you take it one day at a time, when you work hard, when you work for 8 hours or 10 hours a day, that you, your loved one or your best friend or whoever, you need to hug them, because life is only you only live life one time. So life is very, very, very short. You cannot take life for granted. So at the end of the day, you do what you have to do. You give somebody a hug, and you don't have any regrets. You have to say the thing that you want to say, even if you don't want to say it. So in retrospect to this topic, I think a hug is one of the great things that people need around these, because not everybody is loved.
Very true. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the thing I like to say sometimes. It's like, sometimes you're there with a good friend and, like you go to shake a hand and they go to bring it in. And I'm just like, well, bring it in, man. Bring it in. Like, heck yeah, man. And it was pretty neat because, we had Chris on here last week. And Chris was one that had just recently, met up with friends that he hadn't seen in 3 years. And he was just like, man, you can't let it go that long. You know what I mean? The people that you care about and stuff like that, you got to let them know, even if it's, we got technology now. So it's not like we got to send a letter like they used to back in the day, telling them how you care about somebody. Man, now it's as easy as a quick little text message or something like that. And I do, man, I have this one saved in my phone, and it's just it's pretty much like a stop sign, but on the stop sign, it says, good things are on the way. And, when I see people, that are friends of mine or that are tight with me that post something, where they're dealing with something difficult, I always try to send a positive message to let them know that, hey, at this moment, it's not very good, but guess what? Good things are on the way. And speaking of good things on the way, you have a dynamic podcast set up for today. Is that correct? Is that still on or?
Yeah. Yeah, so the Dynamic Podcast is still on today. I think it will be live at 12 p.m., which is about, let's say, 4 hours and 20 minutes from now. I am
Oh,
going live with a guy. His name is Kobe. I can't pronounce his last name, but he does, content on TikTok. I really found him on TikTok, and he does a lot of motivational stuff, and he has his own course that is, somewhat free as well, and that you paid for. He's an 18-year-old kid, entrepreneur. He has a little, thing that says "Create Your Existence." So he has a good platform going. I think what he does is he brings a mindset. So it's like an everyday thing where he brings a mindset where you can be great at things, and I think he's very old school like me. You work hard. Everything's not given to you. His background story was, he's 18 years old. He already has his own house, his own rent. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't, he wanted to. I think the thing that I respect about him, as I watched his TikTok lives, he wanted to make it harder. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want the easy way. His parents weren't going to give him anything, so he wanted to do things the hard way, and he wanted to from, learn from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? Go from the bottom, learn from the ground up. So I would like to. I can't wait to see what happens with the mindset and how things go with this interview. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of good information that young people can rely on. I took the free course of, refine your mind and create your legacy. I took the course, and I think it's very good, interesting topics. It gets you, thinking outside the box. Like, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? It's the same thing on a football field, but also in life. What is your strengths? What is your weakness? You know what I'm saying? And I think his whole, website that he has, you get one-on-one mentorship as well, along with the Discord as well. So I think all that pricing wise, I'm not sure what the pricing is, but I know he has a free course. So when stuff is free, I took advantage of it. So I took advantage of free information and whatnot. So I think this would be a very good conversation to have because between myself at 24 and his age at 18, I think there's a lot of things that you can relate to because the mindset of these people, and as we talked about last week when I was on Life Lessons with Chris, we talked about how we need more discipline. So I think it's going to be some very good things, and I think it's one of those conversations that you need to have that everybody else is scared to have. So I think it'll go good along there.
Man, amen to that. And, I can just speak from, my own personal experiences, you know, uh, secondhand knowledge, that's like, coaching, that's like an uncle telling his nephew, hey, man, don't drink and drive, stuff like that. Firsthand knowledge is actually sitting there drinking and driving and getting in a car accident and going through it. Who is going to have a more knowledgeable experience? Probably the one that was actually physically doing it, got in the accident. He's going to have the wounds. And that's kind of how I grew up, man. I kind of grew up having to mess up and having to rebuild over and over again. And, that's one of the good things about, when you do, hit the deeper ends or you do get close to that rock bottom territory, is that you are, man, you have the ability to rebuild yourself exactly the way you wanted to. There are no excuses. And I think him going through those things at that early age and, getting out on his own and having to figure it out, without a map, without a compass, there's something into that. I'm a big David Goggins guy, and this guy will work his body until it shuts down. And then he will tell himself, stop being a bitch, man up, get rid of that inner bitch and get after it. And it's amazing what you can do, if you believe in yourself, and self-belief is a very important thing. And I believe that topic's definitely going to come up, and I am just so inspired by it. And I love the fact that we've got a guy that's 18 years old. We've got a guy that's 24 years old here, crushing it, learning, wanting to be better, wanting to grow, wanting to be the best. That's what it's all about. I think we're in an era these days where they want to give you a fifth place trophy, a sixth place trophy, and give you a pat on the back and say, you know what? You did a good job. You were last. You did a good job. I love the fact that you guys see this. You guys want to get better, and it's coming from within. There's a thing called toughness that I believe one day is going to be like a superpower. Like people ain't going to know what that is. It's not something that's used. It's not a trait. Back in the day, man, those bird football teams, when I first got there, every single person on that team was tough, man. You could not complete the circle without having some toughness in your body. If you didn't complete the circle, it's because you didn't have that ability and stuff like that. But I do, man. I think that one day something as easy to figure out as toughness, which is never giving up, not quitting, pushing yourself past your limits. I think that's going to be a superpower, man. It's going to be it is, but I am looking forward to it. 12 o'clock today. And how many followers does he have on
Yeah, I know he has a lot on TikTok. Let me see how much he has. I think
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's like unbelievable.
he has he has 12.4K followers on TikTok.
Okay. Okay. Wow. But hey, and Alan Anthony, I know you're watching. It's up to guys like yourself, myself, Coach Lambo, Coach Taylor, to teach these kids toughness, man. I got it all the time. Being an offensive line coach, I got some of the biggest guys in the world, but their whole life, you know what they were told?
They couldn't do
Don't
it.
don't bully your sister. Don't be a bully. Don't pick on nobody. Well, guess what, guys? As an offensive line coach, you know what I want? I
Bully.
want the 5 baddest bullies out there. So, we had to teach these kids. And it was, I had to take them back to square one, coach. I would literally put a bag on the ground and give them 15 seconds to say, look, beat up that bag. I don't care what you got to do. Splash it. Drop an elbow on it. Beat that bag up. Do something physical. Punch that thing. It's not going to punch you back. That's the best part about it. And I tell you what, we did that for a couple of days. Next thing you know, about mid-season, man, these guys are bullies. I'm having to tell them, look, when that whistle blows, back off. We're getting personal fouls. Oh man, it was a beautiful thing. But it does. It takes toughness, but I think it does. It takes a coach that is tough to get that out of guys because you're not taught that. Bullying and fist fighting, it's not a thing anymore. It was kind of when we were growing up. That's how you settled stuff. It's just we're in a different time these days. But yeah, I do. That's what I believe, and also, it got me thinking too, Coach. I know you're a huge basketball guru. What did you think about the second game from the number one pick? I mean, he lit it up, and then they just what do you pull him out because his confidence can't get no higher at that point? What do you think?
Sources said that he got hurt, maybe, but I mean, I think at the same time, if you're a number one draft pick, I guess, or number two, they don't want you to get hurt playing summer league. But
Yeah.
I went to the gym and talked to people about this, especially one of my other closest friends who is like the GOAT at pickup games in basketball. I don't think Wemby is going to be good at all. I think he's going to be completely garbage. His size bothers me a lot, but I think I think he's just overrated because I don't know if it's true, but it was a press conference saying that the NBA is less physical than playing in Europe, but he only played 3 games in summer league. So I think for him saying that, I'm glad he answered the question, but I think he was arrogant because he hasn't played in the actual NBA game yet, and summer league is different than an NBA game, and then now they have the in-season tournament, so
Right.
that you can win the NBA Cup. So we'll see how that goes. But I don't think he's going to be that good. They talk about he's going to be the next Tim Duncan and all that stuff, and I don't see it from this guy. This guy is soft. He's inconsistent. He's too skinny. It's going to take him about 3 years to put some real muscle and some real meat on him. So I don't think Wemby is going to be good. Completely garbage.
Yeah, man. I like the kid that went back to school from Iowa. It wasn't Iowa. Who was the big center for
Was he from Purdue?
Purdue? That's the one.
Is that
Edie.
something? Edie.
See, Zach Edie. See, I liked him because he had that same height, but you're talking about a guy 290. You know what I mean? He's got that body.
He got
to
more
me,
muscle than Wemby. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. To me, he reminded me kind of like a Yao Ming. Not as tall, but to me, man, he was a guy that I thought, just watching, and that's a tough conference that they play in. I thought he was gonna be a guy that would go in and be the number one pick. So for him to come back, man, I was pretty shocked about that. Mid-season, before I even knew who the other guy was, I was like, this guy is going to be the number one pick. So for him to come back,
I've watched Zach. I watched Zach Ubi from Purdue for years. Because I had a friend that played at Northwestern. His name was Robbie Barrett. So I watched Purdue and Northwestern play last year. I think Purdue was number one team last year. They got beat by Northwestern. So
right.
I watched him. He's very good. He averages 25 to 30 points a game. So Purdue is a really good basketball team. So I guess he's coming back to try to win a conference championship or the NCAA Final Four. So I think there's some things he can work on in this game. I think he can work on his jump shot. He does have a good jump shot, but I think it could be consistent. But he does get a lot of double rebounds, and in the Big Ten conference, it's hard to box a guy out like that. He's so tall, and his wingspan I think is like 7'7" with his long arms and big hands. But he can play. So I guess it was about a championship, not about the money. So when guys go back, I think they have something to prove, and I guess he wants that higher than what it was. So I think he'll be higher next year, and I think this year he'll have 25 points a game. So I don't see what.
Yeah, amen to that, man. The guy is a monster. He does the fundamentals very well. Other news I wanted to check in with you on. Go ahead and punch your ticket because they got the Jets on Hard Knocks. So they're not winning the Super Bowl. What's your thoughts on having the Jets on Hard Knocks this year?
According to Lambeau's World of Sports, I was right. The Jets were going to be on Hard Knocks because you have third-year head coach Robert Saleh, who's a former defensive coordinator under Kyle Shanahan for the San Francisco 49ers. The Jets were 5-2 last year. They started off really good, but they had Joe Flacco at quarterback. They had Zach Wilson at quarterback. Oof. 2 of those games, I think in 3 weeks, they lost to the Patriots, which is my team. Thank God we beat them. Jets ain't nothing. So they lost. The second game they lost on special teams. It was a 3-3 game, and then you had Jack Jones or Marcus Jones returning for a touchdown. We won 10-3 last year, but it's all hype. Everybody wants to know Aaron Rodgers, Zach Wilson. What Zach Wilson said last year. I'm gonna help him in practice. Once he got signed, Zach Wilson's an incompetent quarterback. He's from BYU, so it's going to be a lot of atmosphere with the Jets. Are the Jets going to be back? As far as them being on Hard Knocks, it's hard for me to say they won't make the playoffs. One, you have Aaron Rodgers, but 2, your offense should be better. The Jets always had a good defense. The problem is their offense. So you have Aaron Rodgers, you have Alan Lazard, who is from Green Bay. You have all the guys that you need in place. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be a lot of cameras, action. Aaron Rodgers doesn't really like the cameras on him like that, but we'll see how it goes. And there's going to be some controversy about his what he does in the offseason, his woosah, medication, whatever medication that man be taking or something, or whatever his piece is he did a couple months ago with him sitting in the dark and, sitting in the dark for about 4 weeks and whatnot. Do I think Aaron Rodgers is a top QB? Yes, Aaron Rodgers has a pretty spiral. I think Aaron Rodgers can throw the ball pretty well. My prediction for them making the playoffs is a maybe. I'm not going to say no, but there is rumors saying that, if you're on Hard Knocks, you don't really make the playoffs. But I think when the Rams and the Chargers were in LA and they were on Hard Knocks, I think in 2020 or 2021, maybe about 2-3 years ago, the Rams made the playoffs with Jared Goff. This is before they released Jared Goff and got Matthew Stafford. So that year, the Rams made the playoffs, not the Chargers. The Chargers went 4-12 that 2020 season or 2021, whenever they were on Hard Knocks. Last year, Detroit Lions had a winning record, and they were on Hard Knocks. So they were literally one game away from making the playoffs. So I think with the Jets, their record in that tough division, you got the Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, and the Buffalo Bills. Those are going to be the top 3 teams. So I think the Jets at minimum are probably going to win. I'm going to give them 10 games because of Aaron Rodgers. But I know somebody stupid on NFL Network said they were going to go 17-0, and that's just impossible. The Jets are not going to go 17-0. That's just not. So I'm going to give the Jets a record of 10-7. 10-7, and they'll probably squeeze in the playoffs if another team in the AFC loses with some weird scenario where somebody else loses and then somebody else just slacks off the last 4 games. So I'm gonna give the Jets at 10-7.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. I mean, that division is loaded. I like what Miami did this offseason. New England did a very good job this offseason. Buffalo was one of the best teams in the whole conference. So it's going to be. That kind of boggled my mind. He could have gone anywhere he wanted. I thought him staying in the NFC would have been the best bet. But AFC, man, I mean, it's just so loaded. I mean, you got Joey Burrow, you got Pat Mahomes. Those guys aren't going anywhere anytime soon.
Nope.
So yeah, for him to go to that conference was kind of mind-boggling to me. And yeah, I'll tell you the one thing I'd really love to see. I'd love to see the nightlife and be a fly on the wall when Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are hitting the New York town together. You know what I mean? Hey, hide your moms. Hide your moms. Zach Wilson is on the way, right?
Yeah. There was a story back then where I guess
was it Stifler's mom?
He hit on his mom. Yeah, so you got to be careful about that. But I mean, I have a close friend that's mom is fine too, but I can't say nothing because I don't want to cross the line either. So I keep that in the private space. But yes, if you see Zach Wilson in New York Times or somewhere in LA or in Florida before training camp starts, which starts in about 2 weeks, hide your moms from Zach Wilson. He will bang them. He has a girlfriend. He gonna bang all the milfs in the world.
Oh man, no doubt, without a doubt. So also confirmed just recently, LeBron confirms returning to the NBA.
Yes. So in regards to that, last year we thought he was going to retire. I didn't think he was going to retire. I guess when you go through, 22 seasons of NBA basketball, he was the first overall pick in 2003. The Lakers got swept by the Denver Nuggets in 4 games. It was close, all 4 games, but I think it's the way they got beat. They got beat within the final minutes of those games, and they got swept pretty bad. So with him, LeBron did say that, he's going to continue to play until he can't get the game his all anymore. And also he wants to play with Bronny James as well in the future. So we'll see if Bronny, his son, plays 1 year, then goes to NBA or does whatever. Bronny's son is playing at the University of USC. So they might get some hype with basketball, but also USC football is going to be the focus. But regards to LeBron James, he's the greatest player in this generation. He's the greatest player in this generation. The greatest basketball player of all time is Michael Jordan. We can have this debate on Totem Nation who is the greatest of all time. I'm taking Michael Jordan over LeBron James. But with the LeBron situation, he hasn't won a title since 2020. Yes, Michael Jordan. He hasn't won a title since 2020. In my opinion, I could be maybe arrogant in some way for him. I think that the 2020 title was a fluke because they took 4 months off. And I think if it wasn't for the 4 months off, I don't think the Lakers would have won a championship. They played the Miami Heat the last time they won the championship. So, there was also some debate that if Steph Curry would have won the NBA Finals, is he better than LeBron James? Different styles of games, another debate for later. But for LeBron, I think he's like 38 years of age. So I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron played until he was like 40, 42, like Vince Carter did. So I think LeBron has a lot to bring to the game. And we need to appreciate LeBron James because, once he's gone from the NBA, he gone. It hit different when Michael Jordan, he retired once. He came back, won a ring. But when his last days with the Wizards, he retired, he was done. So we got to appreciate greatness and along with Kobe Bryant. I think the greatest Laker is Kobe Bryant. I personally would take Kobe Bryant over LeBron James because his Mamba mentality and he had that dog in him. But for LeBron, I think he's going to continue to be great. The question is, will the Lakers win a championship? They had moves. They got Gabe Vincent. They signed Rui Hachimura. They kept Austin Reeves. They signed Jackson Hayes, who is from the New Orleans Pelicans, a tall dude that played college basketball at the University of Texas. So they got moves. They have guys. We'll see because it's going to come down to injuries, crunch time, and Anthony Davis is a very inconsistent player. He's from Kentucky. I like him more when he's with the Pelicans. He scored more, but they weren't winning. But I think Anthony Davis is soft. So it's going to come down to, is Anthony Davis going to drop 30 and 20, or is he going to go one game where he drops like 11 and 4 rebounds, or 11 and 10 with his inconsistent shooting, and he could play defense, but he couldn't guard Jokic. Jokic is a big dude, and Jokic has been the best player in the NBA for the past 3 years. So for LeBron, it's all about winning championships at this point. He ain't got that much left as far as years. But I guess he has this year on his contract, and I guess he'll probably restructure his contract. His contract is probably worth over $100 million because he's LeBron James. But we'll see how that goes with LeBron. But it's all about winning championships. But do I think the Lakers will win a championship this year? No.
Yeah, amen to that, man. To me, it's very similar to what we were just talking about with the AFC, man. The West is just so loaded. It is just such a loaded conference. And yeah, with the Nuggets doing what they just did, you got to have those guys, being your odds-on favorite. And it really is, man. And I'm a big Kobe fan as well, man. Those Lakers squads were just, if you put the all-time Laker team together, wow. You're talking Magic, Kareem, him, LeBron. You got big game, James Worthy, AC Green, unbelievable. Jerry West. I mean, phenomenal. Yeah, man. What else is on your heart, Coach? You are on fire. You're in fuego. I just want to give you the ball and get the hell out of the way.
Well, I think the last thing I have to say is a little motivational thing that everybody in America needs to know. It's better to measure a thing 10 times and cut once than to measure once and cut 10 times.
Amen. Amen to that. That reminds me of a Bruce Lee quote. He was about to have a simulation with a guy, and they had told Bruce Lee, "Hey, this guy has been practicing, 1,000 different kicks for your upcoming event." And Bruce Lee said, "I'm not worried about the guy that practices 1,000 different kicks. I'm worried about the guy that practices the same kick 1,000 times." Absolutely, man. Good message there. I'm going to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, Cultivate Wellness. Go to the website, get your CBD, get your animal treats. We've got it all there. They got great merchandise. My beautiful cousin Julia works on the Pike, Midlothian Turnpike right there. She'll take good care of you. Just tell her what's going on. She'll figure the rest out. And huge shout out to St. Pete Rejuvenate. If you are suffering from depression, if you are suffering from chronic pain, go see the Ketamine Queen. Go see the Ketamine Queen. She will take amazing care of you. We have somebody currently that's in there suffering from TMJ. And what we're doing with them is we are changing their life. They are not suffering. They are not having that chronic pain. They are leaving the clinic every single day with a big smile on their face. And that is what it's all about at the end of the day. So, yeah, man, huge shout out to them. Totem Pole Nation. Lambo, you are the man. I love having you on. Anytime me and you can connect, we want to do this. I still got to get with the queen of the SEC, the beautiful, the one and only, one of one, Miss Sarah Blake Cheek, whose magazine comes out this weekend, FHM, Sports Entertainment Men's Magazine. Check it out. It's going to be on the shelves this weekend, but I definitely got to get her on with us so you can tell your story of you throwing the Hail Mary and making it happen for Totem Pole Nation. But
Yeah.
any shouts out, anything else you got left, Coach?
Nah, I mean, we just got to continue to grind this platform. And, like I said, Total Pole Nation is sponsored by St. Pete Rejuvenate and Cultivative Wellness. Thank you for the sponsors. We appreciate Total Pole Nation. And we got another Life Lessons podcast that is coming tomorrow morning at 7:30, which I would be here for because as my young self, I always wake up bright and early like the old folks.
Oh man, I love it. One day we're going to get in to drink coffee like the old folks. Oh yeah.
Coffee before I'm going to have my Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
Amen. But thank you, Totem Pole Nation. We love you guys. To the next episode. Oh, also 12 o'clock noon. Come right back here. Lambo is going to light it up. You do not want to miss this. So we will be back here in a couple hours. All right. To the next episode.